First, a day of dueling protests. Tensions on campus remain high, and pressure is growing on the University of Pennsylvania to dismantle a pro-Palestinian encampment. Good Thursday evening. I'm Siafa Lewis. Yuki Washington and Jessica Cortalia have the night off. The on-campus protest has stretched into its 8th day. At the same time, dozens of other colleges around the country are seeing similar demonstrations. CBS News Philadelphia's Madeline Wright has more on the growing unrest.
Administrators at Penn are exploring options to end the growing unrest on campus as dozens of people camp out on College Green to protest the Israel-Hamas war.
We've entered negotiations with Penn, but the university has kind of made it clear that they are not very willing to kind of talk in good faith about our demands.
Protesters have 3 demands: that Penn disclose its investments, cut financial ties with companies supporting Israel, and protect the speech of Palestinian student protesters.
As an encampment, it's necessary for us to escalate in order to get our demands met, right? And obviously there will always be pushback.
Counter-protesters are accusing the protesters of being anti-Semitic. On Thursday, the Philadelphia chapter of the Israeli-American Council marched through campus to give administrators a petition with 3,000 signatures asking for them to remove the encampment.
It is unfortunate to many of us that the encampments has been allowed to persist despite harassment, threatening speech, and vandalism.
It's a little bit insulting to say that this encampment is threatening because this encampment has actually been the victim of numerous attacks.
On Wednesday, a man was seen spreading stink spray on the protest camp and is now facing charges. The university's administration has asked the protesters to leave, putting up these no trespassing signs. But protesters say they refuse to budge until their demands are met.
While disciplinary action, police action is scary, it pales in comparison to what's happening in Gaza.
It remains to be seen how the university will reach a resolution with the protesters. In a statement, Penn said it's contacted the mayor's office to ask for additional resources to maintain safety on campus. In University City, Madeline Wright, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Despite the ongoing encampment at UPenn, the annual Hay Day tradition still took place today. Junior class members donned caps and carried canes as they marched down Locust Walk, culminating with interim president Dr. Larry Jameson ceremonially dubbing them seniors. This tradition dates back to at least 1916, though the university did have to make some changes to the march. The encampment rests where the Hay Day traditionally ends, so university leaders altered this year's route, having the march end at Annenberg Plaza about a block earlier than usual. Rutgers University has reached an agreement with protesters to end the encampment on the main campus in New Brunswick. This is video of some protesters packing up before a 4 p.m. deadline earlier today. The university's chancellor says the school is committed to an open dialogue with Arab, Muslim, and Palestinian students. They've also agreed to review the request to divest from companies that do business with Israel. University officials say the protesters disrupted 28 final exams today, impacting more than 1,000 students. And chaotic scenes played out early today at UCLA. Officers in riot gear moved in on hundreds of protesters who refused to leave. There were more than 200 arrests in all, and the encampment was cleared. President Biden spoke to the nation today about the college campus protests around the country. He says, while peaceful protesting is a right, creating chaos and hateful speech is not.
There should be no place on any campus, no place in America for anti-Semitism or threats of violence against Jewish students. There is no place for hate speech or violence of any kind, whether it's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or discrimination against Arab Americans or Palestinian Americans.
The president added that he will always defend free speech, but will be just as strong standing up for the rule of law. Stay with CBS News Philadelphia for the latest on these protests, both locally and nationally. When we're not on air, you can always get updates online at cbsphiladelphia.com.